everyone, Stephanie here, coffee drinker, book lover, and reviewer of many things, and today I have a book review for you. I listened to The Lightning Thief by Rick Roar Riordan? Oh my gosh, is that how you say it? But I finished a book. I listened to this on Libby. Um, so I wish that I had a copy of this book, and let me give you the summary that I can find of this book real fast. The Lightning Thief. All right. Are you ready for this? 12-year-old Percy Jackson is about to be kicked out of boarding school again. No matter how hard he tries, he can't seem to stay out of trouble. But he can real but can he really be expected to stand by and watch while a bully picks on his scrawny best friend? Or not defend himself against the pre-algebra teacher when she turns into a monster and tries to kill him? Of course. No one believes Percy about the monster incident. He's not even sure he believes it himself. Until the Minotaur chases him to summer camp. Suddenly, mythical creatures seem to be walking straight out of the pages of Percy's Greek mythology textbook and into his life. The gods of Mount Olympus, he comes to realize, are very much alive in the 21st century, and worse, he's angered a few of them. Zeus's master lightning bolt has been stolen, and Percy is the prime suspect. Now, Percy has just 10 days to find and return Zeus's stolen property, and bring peace to a warring Mount Olympus. On a daring road trip from their summer camp in New York to the gates of the underworld in Los Angeles, Percy and his friends, one satire? No, centaur? Satar? Satar? I don't remember how to say it. And the other, a demigod daughter of Athena, will face a host of enemies determined to stop them. To succeed in his quest, Percy will have to do more than catch the true thief. He must come to terms with the father who abandoned him, solve the riddle of the oracle, which warns him of his failure in a betrayal by one friend, and unravel the treachery more powerful than the gods themselves. So, I'm just gonna move on. Gonna move on real fast to my book lover's journal before I explode. Um, First, we've entered a new section: to read or not to reread. That is the question. Um, so, my page here has a little blurb on it. It says, "What a blessing it is to love books." It's by Elizabeth von Arnon. And she is the one that did the book. I read it earlier this year. Um yeah. What was that book called? The Enchanted April. So I like her. Okay. How much I wrote. Okay. Title: The Lightning Thief. This is book 1. Author Rick Roar Roardan Roardan. Nope. Riordan? Yeah. Okay. Genre fantasy. Um, I think it was once considered a middle grade fantasy. It says that it's for 9 and up, but I think that has since changed with all of the ratings and stuff. Publishers, where the listening library. Number of pages, 384 to 416 pages, depending on what size book you have, or 10 hours if you're going to listen to it. When did I start this? October 16th, 2025. And when did I finish it? October 23rd, 2025. Why did I choose this book? I'd never read it as a kid and thought it was time. So I put it on my 2025 reading challenge for preteens and teens. Rating, I gave this 4 books. I gave this 4 books. I didn't write down any other ratings. Hold on. Audible has it as a 4.7, and Goodreads Goodreads has it as a 4.3. Um, I considered giving it a half star, but I wasn't sure. I'm still contemplating, okay? Um, would I recommend this? Yes. Yes, I would. Other books by Rick, um, the rest the other I'm sorry, 12 books of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, 2 books of the Nicodangelo Adventures. Nicody, maybe? Angelo Adventures? Um, 6 books for the Heroes of Olympus, The Lost Hero, 6 books of the Trials of Apollo, 5 books of the Kane Chronicles, 5 books in Magnus Chase and the God of Asgard, which I have one of those books. I don't know. I just picked it up because it looked good. Okay. Here's my review. Oh, how have I never read this before? That is what I wrote. I really enjoyed this book. It was full of adventure and not knowing what was going to happen next. I loved reading about Percy's reaction to things. He just knew how to do things naturally, but he was also like, I don't know, I'm 13. This was obviously written in a different time. Um, like cell phones and stuff, different time than we are in now. And I like it. It was kind of like nostalgic. Um, that makes sense for when this book was written. Okay. The Greek mythology part was great too, and some of it I remembered learning about, and other parts I was like, "Oh, I didn't remember that." Um, that's what I wrote. There's no spoils. I couldn't pick. I can't just pick certain things to. Oh my gosh, this review is gonna be so hard because I'm just gonna want to spoil everything. Okay, the summer camp portion was really neat, and I enjoyed it. I like the fact that The first time that Percy uses his powers kind of not even on purpose, it was accidentally, it's because he's being bullied and he's about to get his head stuck into a toilet, and he just kind of, you know, he's trying to think of anything other than this nasty toilet water he's about to get his head stuck in, and for some reason, his brain starts thinking about where the water goes when it's flushed and where it comes from, and he starts thinking that there's the pipes are probably in the wall, and then it would be funny if a pipe burst and then, like, took the person that was trying to bully him, you know, covered her in water instead, and then that happens, and it's not just, like, her, it's her whole group, and they don't just get wet, they get pushed all the way out of the bathroom, and except for his tour guide, who was not bullying him, and when the water goes away, she's standing there covered in water, and she's like and he is in the only dry spot in the whole entire bathroom, and he's like and him and the girl, his tour guide, make eye contact, and then they hear, like, the bad kids outside, like, "Blah," and he just picks up natural, he's like, "Yeah, next time you come at me, it'll be worse." I don't remember exactly what he said, but that's pretty much the lines that he used, like, um, "No spoilers, no spoilers, no there's okay, how about this? There's gonna be spoilers. Okay, so I'm gonna let you pause and you can go and comment in this section, into the comment section and do whatever you need to write whatever you need to write. Um, about this book. Did you read this book? Are you gonna read this book? If you don't want to listen to the spoilers. And then like, comment, and subscribe. Okay? And then the rest of us are gonna enjoy my spoilers. So go ahead and pause if you're gonna go right in the comment section before you leave. That way you don't hear any more spoilers. So, fact that he like sees his mom die. Man, I'm popular today. Guys, no joke. AI just called me and was trying to get me insurance. I have insurance. And then when I was trying to be nice to the AI, I said, "I'm really busy right now. Can we reschedule?" And they said, "No, we need to do this right now." Excuse me? Excuse me? So I just hung up. Um, ooh, AI is getting snarky and they need to get everything under control. We don't need AI controlling things and having all of our information. I'm just saying. That seems like it'd be very easy for like terrorists to break into whatever system they have. Okay, sorry. Back to Percy Jackson. I forgot what I was talking about. Okay, so like he sees his mom. I'm still like freaking out. Sorry. He sees his mom get killed in front of him by a minotaur who like squeezes the life until she glows and disappears. And then there's no body? What? Um and then he's so like then he obviously he's upset, so he uses that anger to take out the minotaur to save his friend Grover, who he just found out is not human. Um And they get to where they're supposed to be, to just inside the protection of the summer camp, and then he passes out before he can see who saves him. I was like, "This was a kid book. This was like 8-year-olds were reading this? 9-year-olds?" Um, what? And anyway, to me, I don't know. I mean, yeah, 9-year-old me would have loved this book. But in today's society, I understand why people would not allow their 8-year-old, 9-year-old to read this book. Does that mean it needs to be banned? No. You just need to know what your kid's reading and then make the choice of, "Hey, you can read that," or, "Hey, let's wait a year." Anyway, anyway, so, yeah, I don't think it should be banned. And I know I understand why you don't want your 9-year-old to read it, but like I said, anyway, I'm not here to argue that situation. Um, I listened to this book with my kid in the room, and she's 5. We're all different. Um, if there was parts that I needed to talk to her about, I would stop and talk to her about them. Like it's gonna rain. Um, the school he got kicked out of was pretty interesting. The little boarding school he was in. Um, he only had one teacher that really liked him and made sure that he, studied for his class and all that stuff. And then turns out he's not human either. And he's at this summer camp. And I was like, yeah, I saw that coming. It's a given that he's not human. Um, when Percy gets attacked by his pre-algebra teacher, is that what they said? Algebra. Okay. Also, I don't remember doing pre-algebra until no, okay, it was junior high, just kidding. For some reason, I was thinking it wasn't until high school. I had Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 in high school, right? I know. It doesn't matter. I didn't learn anything. Um, um, okay. So, the summer camp sounds really fun, actually, except for the fact that they have to do rock climbing while there's, like, lava spitting at them. I would probably definitely get burned, and then as I got burned, I would fall. I'd be like, "Ow! Oh, no. Where's the handhold?" Um, yeah, that'd be me. I'd be like, "Oh!" And then, when his father decides to claim him, that that part was very interesting, and I was like I mean, I saw it coming because he had a thing with water. Yeah, and I was like, "It makes sense," but at the same time, then you find out that that's one of the gods that made the deal that they wouldn't have kids, and then turns out they did? What? Um, Also the way that everyone reacts. Okay, so Percy's, like, in a puddle or a pond or something. He's, like, stepped into it to heal himself, which he didn't realize was a thing. He just stumbled into it and was like, "Hey, I feel better here. Cool." After fighting, they were doing it wasn't just fighting, like, he was doing an activity. Um, they were doing a capture the flag type thing, and then all of a sudden, his dad's name is above his head, and they're like, "Oh," uh, and, there were some gasps, and Chiron, the used to be human teacher who's not actually human, is like, "All hail Percy, the demigod of Persides." And everyone's like and repeats and, like, they give, like, a little, like, nod, and then he gets to be in a room, a whole house by himself. A whole bunkhouse to himself, and he's like, "While I wasn't a big fan of sleeping on the floor, it's nice to have a bed, but is this lonely?" And, I thought that part was funny. He was like, "Yeah, I got my own place." "Oh, I got my own place. I'm alone." And then he keeps having these dreams of people fighting and finds out they're not dreams, they're like visions, and what? They're about you. And so then he has to go see the oracle, and the oracle gives him this, like an oracle does, kind of shady, not whole truth paragraph of words. And he's like, okay, something about going west. Uh, so him and his friends journey west. And before they leave, he's given some shoes, some winged shoes by someone who he thinks is a really good friend. Like he's an older kid. He was like the counselor for the first place that he was put, the first bunkhouse he was put in. And so you're like, "Oh, it is so sweet." He trained him in like sword fighting, staff fighting, whatever it was. And then the three friends, Grover, Percy, and what was her name? The demigod girl? Um, oh man, I don't remember her name. I should have written it down. I remember her name and I can't find it. A girl. The girl that took him on his first tour of shh, the first tour of the camp. She'd been there since she was 7, and she like nursed him back to health. She like nursed him back to health whenever he first got there. And the funny thing is when he first got there and he like first came to, she asked him some questions and he was like, "What?" And then later she's like, "You drool in your sleep. You talk in your sleep too." And she kind of picks at him and it's pretty it's cute. Part of me was like, "Oh, I hope they get together." And then the other part of me was like, "It's a kid book. We don't need that." I I'm like, not every book needs to have a romance, but at the same time, I'm like, "Oh, they'd be so cute together." Um, anyway, so, on their travels, they run into, a few different people, few different creatures. There's, like, a fight on a bus, and then his picture gets taken, and he's a criminal in the eyes of the law, and, attacking 3 old people, and then they run into Medusa, and then they run into my favorite. I think that was, like, the fact that what he does to Medusa's head is hilarious. Um, the fact that he had the audacity to wrap the head up, put it in a box, and then mail it to the gods. I was like, "What?" Up until now, he thought the gods were sending these creatures after him, and then turns out it wasn't the ones that he sent this head to. Um, and then they get kind of trapped. Wait, not before or after? I don't remember the order exactly, but I think the next thing that happens is one of the gods asks them to go get something from a old carnival that's not running anymore because it's where he used to meet up with his secret love. And they have to figure out how to get over there and then get out, and it's a crazy mess. And then they do get out. They get what the god asked them to get, and why didn't you just go get it yourself? And he's like, yeah. And then he gives them help. He gives them a bag of stuff that they're gonna need, and he tells them, "Oh, there's your ride to get to New York, or not New York, to California." And they're like, "You want us to sit in the back with some animals?" And he's like, "Oh, looks like they're leaving." And they get their picture taken there talking to this guy, and it's plastered on the news that he's in a gang. And the whole, like, every time he sees something about himself, his stepdad, Smelly Gabe, is on the news being like, "Oh yes, my stepson, he's always had his problems and he's been a troubled kid ever since I met him and his mom," and all that stuff. And yeah. And so then they go to, like, different places trying to get what they need, and I'm like, "What an adventure," and, like, all of this in 10 days? I'm not sure. I don't I mean, I guess you could, but all the stops and other stuff that happens, I feel like they couldn't have made it from New York to California. California, that's where they were going, right? Anyway, my favorite is at the end when there's a big fight. I'm not gonna tell you with who, and the police officers think that they're holding guns, but they're not. They're holding swords, and Percy has realized how to wield the water to his will, and the water helps him, and he takes out this person that helped them earlier, and then the police come and surround take the kids, and they're like, um, "Oh my good, these you're the kid," and Percy's like, "Oh, thank God. Oh, thank goodness you finally, got us safely here, and I know, just seeing my stepfather, my loving stepfather, on the screens whenever we got to see stuff about the outside world just made me know that he still cared about me so much, and I know that he'd be willing to give stuff for free to everyone who helps get me home, and, like, all the police officers were like, it's so touching that they pulled money together to get them a plane ticket back to New York, and, I was like, "Ooh, Gabe's not gonna like that." Um, and then he gets to meet Zeus and his father, and he has a nice little talk with both of them and, explains that, "No, I did not steal your stuff. So and so stole your stuff, but I don't think he's doing it for himself. I think it's this other thing, which I'm not going to tell you what it is in case you don't want to know that big spoiler." And if you don't know how things go, um and Zeus is like, "Nonsense." But it's kind of like and then he's like, "I got to go disinfect his lightning bolt." And he's like, "If you're not gone by the time I get back, I will use this on you." And he's like, "Thank you, sir." Mhm. And Zeus leaves, and then he has a nice moment with his dad and his biological dad. And his dad is like, "I'm sorry you were born." And Percy kinda takes that, when if you hear that, you're like, "You're sorry I was born, how rude." But then he explains, "I didn't want anyone to have to go through what you're gonna have to go through." Um, and he's like, "Your mother's been restored," and all of that stuff, and so he gets sent home, and before he leaves, his dad goes, "Oh, and there's gonna be a package left for you, and you may do with it what you wish. You're gonna have to make a choice." And he's like, "Yes, okay." And so he leaves and he gets home and his mom is there and they like hug and they cry and they're all and she's like, "I don't remember what happened. Can you tell me?" And so he tells her everything. Everything. And which he hadn't been doing before. Like every time he got expelled, it was because a monster, but he didn't want to sound crazy. So he never told her the whole truth. And this time he's like, "I'm telling you everything." And the package like Smelly Pete comes in and is like, "Where's my dinner?" And she's like, "Yes, dear. Surprise meatloaf is coming. Don't worry." And um Percy is like, "You don't have to stay with him anymore. Like I can defend myself now. We don't need Stinky Pete to try to hide my scent from the gods." Oh, sorry. And she's like, "Well, just I've been with him for so long and I just and Percy's like, "Does he hit you? Like, I'll take care of him. I'll take care of him." And she's like, "I wouldn't let your dad fight on my behalf, and I'm not gonna let you fight for me either. You fight for yourself. I just gotta learn how to fight for myself." And he's like, "Okay." And then see the box like magically appears on his bed, and he goes, "Oh, mom," and tells her about the box. Like, "This is that box that I told you about earlier. Don't look at it, but you wanna Gabe, you wanna give this box to Gabe." And she's like, "I'll think about it." And as she's telling him goodbye because 'cause he's gotta go back to camp, Gabe is just being he's just being okay? And she's like, "Bye, honey. I'll miss you." she turns and she goes inside, and then later he gets a letter from her that's like, "Oh, yes, I finally made enough money to go back to school like I've always wanted to. I made I used the materials that you gave me in that box and made my very first statue of my loving husband, Pete." And then he disappeared. He just left. So dramatic. I was like, and no one will ever find him. Um, that's one of my favorite parts of the whole book. And then you find out who betrayed him. Also, he gets a scorpion bite. A bad one. Not one that's just like, "Ugh, gonna be sore for a while." No, like the bad scorpions. Um, and when you find out who's in charge of the scorpion and who who gave him an item that was supposed to be his demise, but he didn't even have the item, his friend did. I was like, "What? No, they were supposed to be a good person." And yeah, yeah. Um, but the end of the book doesn't it's not like a happily ever after the end. It's one you're gonna want to pick up the second book. Like, I need to know what else happened. I'm like, got a whole bunch of books to read, and I need to know what happens in this book though. Um, yeah. So what did you think of Percy Jackson, or I'm sorry, The Lightning Thief? Percy Jackson and The Lightning Thief? Is that was I don't know. I hear a lot of people say that it's very similar to Harry Potter in the ways that, there's 2 boys and a girl as the main characters, and one of them is, like, the smart one who knows everything, and one is, like, the lovable sidekick, and then you have your main character, but to me, I didn't feel like Percy and Harry Potter were anything alike, other than they were both boys, and they had a chosen path for them. Yeah, that's I can see the parallels, but at the same time, I'm like, "No, the books are different," and I would absolutely have read them separately, obviously, separately because different characters. Um, yeah. Okay, so like this video if you like this video. Comment below, have you read The Lightning Thief? Should I definitely pick up the second one? I need confirmation. I have what do I have? I have, um the Girl in White video coming up. At this moment, I'm not finished with the book, but I think I have like maybe 3 chapters left. Tell you about that. I have the Spooky House video coming up, and the Pumpkin Spice Cafe video will be sometime this month. I'm also I got a plan. Hold on. I'm also going to be talking about a place that my daughter and I went, and we're gonna talk about I'm gonna make a video on, books that are good to learn emotions. I'm going to I'm gonna make a video about the NetGalley books that I've listened to and give you some thoughts on those, and I am in the process of making my lists for next year's reading challenges. Um, so excited. Can't wait to share those with you. And yeah, that's really all I have to talk about. If you liked this video, again, give me a thumbs up. Share this video because sharing is caring. And oh, subscribe. Almost forgot that one. Subscribe. If you're not sure you want to subscribe, you can click my face bubble. It'll be down here somewhere where my hands are. And it'll take you to my channel and you can check out my other videos. Um, do a lot of book videos. A lot of book videos. All right, well, that's all I have to talk about, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.